Hey there, welcome to How to Conquer Emotional Eating. You've come here because you're struggling to lose weight. You're struggling to control yourself around food. It is a very common problem. It is a massive killer for so many diets. But it's okay to be an emotional eater. It's okay. The fact that you are here, that you're watching this video, it shows that you care about it. This is important to you. This is going to be something that we conquer together. Now, before we get into it, you will have access to this video whenever you need it. So feel free to come back to this, rewatch it as many times as you want. I'm also going to leave a link to a PDF of this slideshow in case you want to just review it in your own time. It's totally fine. Use this resource as much as you need to. Let's get into it. So, what are we actually going to learn today? Well, we are going to learn what emotional eating actually is and what it looks like. We're going to learn the difference between good and bad food, and we're going to learn 5 new strategies to help us conquer emotional eating once and for all. Before we get into this, I want to share my experience with emotional eating. Now, if you don't know, I used to be fat. When I left high school, I very quickly went into a work from home job for an insurance company that I hated. Because of that, I actually ballooned out to 115 kilos. I was a big boy. This was me at my biggest. I lived a very sedentary lifestyle and I very quickly got to 115 kilos purely by emotional eating, especially at nighttime. The biggest thing that I want you to take away from my experience, you are not alone and it is something that you can overcome. Look, I've overcome it, okay? I barely even look like this guy anymore. We are going to do this together. So, what actually is emotional eating? To put it simply, it's eating to make yourself feel better. It's using food to fill a void. Some people do this with drugs, with alcohol, with cigarettes. We do it with food. It's not something to be ashamed of. It is a very common problem. What does emotional eating actually look like? It can look like eating when you feel stressed, eating when you aren't actually hungry, or even when you're full. It's eating to make yourself feel better, to soothe yourself when you're sad, when you're mad, when you're bored, or when you're anxious. Rewarding yourself with food. Now, I don't mean using food as a treat, right? Having treats is totally okay. I always say it's very important to have foods that we like to be a part of our diet. What rewarding yourself with food looks like is I deserve this treat because I've had a hard day today. That's rewarding yourself with food. If it's in a plan, if it's part of a plan, say you just finished a massive project, you knew that this deadline was coming up and you said, when I finish this project, I am going to get pizza. That is not rewarding yourself with food. That's giving yourself a treat that is totally different. It can also look like eating when you are absolutely stuffed, when our stomachs are super full, when we're sore and we continue to eat. I'm sure you've been there. I certainly have been here. If food makes you feel safe or if food is a friend, that's emotional eating, especially when we're hiding our food from loved ones and when we feel powerless or out of control around our food. Now, emotional eating typically comes in a cycle. So we start by feeling upset, angry, stressed, or bored, and that very quickly leads to getting the urge to eat. We start caving on that craving. We feel guilty and powerless from eating, and the cycle resets. We feel upset that we ate, and then we get the urge to eat again, and then we cave on the craving, and then it just keeps going. This is something that I really struggled with. I'm sure this is something that you're looking at and going, oh my God, this is me. In order to conquer emotional eating, we need to break this cycle. And we need to break this cycle by removing emotion out of eating entirely. So we need to break this feeling of guilty and powerlessness from eating. We need to take our power back and not let what we eat control how we feel. So let's talk about the differences between emotional hunger and physical hunger. Emotional hunger is going to come on suddenly. It demands instant satisfaction, it feels overwhelming and urgent, and you will crave specific comfort foods. Emotional eating can also be very mindless. Now that means that you're not really thinking about what you're eating. You're just kind of stuffing your face as fast as you can. Emotional eating is a craving focused on specific textures, tastes, and smells. It's going to lead you to feel regret, guilt, and shame. Now, physical hunger is going to come on gradually. It doesn't demand instant satisfaction. There's no real specific cravings. Anything's going to sound good when you're hungry. You're going to be satisfied when you're full, and your stomach is actually going to growl. Now, when we're actually hungry, we're typically going to eat slower and be more aware. We're going to be more mindful when we're eating. So that goes back to our can be very mindless. Alrighty, good versus bad foods. There is no such thing as good or bad foods. Here's the truth. You can lose weight on a diet of only McDonald's as long as you maintain a calorie deficit. You can gain weight on a diet of only fruit, meat, and vegetables. There is no such thing as good or bad foods. When losing weight, the priority is always a calorie deficit. There is healthy and unhealthy foods. Both have a very important place in our diets. It's not a bad thing to eat unhealthy foods as long as we are in control when we are eating them. Removing emotion from food is the key to conquering emotional eating. So if we go back to our emotional eating cycle over here, we need to remove this feeling of guilt, this feeling of powerlessness from food. We need to take all emotion out of food so that we don't feel this guilt and we don't repeat the cycle. So how can we actually manage emotional eating? We can start by simply journaling and logging what we're eating, holding yourself accountable to the foods that you eat, not to beat yourself up and feel bad about what you're eating, but to recognize patterns. Keep track of what triggered you, what was the craving, how did you feel before you ate, and how did you feel after you ate. So for example, what triggered you? My partner and I had an argument. What was the craving? I craved an entire block of chocolate. How did we feel before we ate? I was really stressed, upset. I was really angry at my partner, and I felt the only thing to make me feel better was chocolate. And how did we feel after we ate? After I ate, I actually felt worse. And upon reflection, the argument I had with my partner, it wasn't even that bad. Over time, patterns are going to start to emerge. This will let you devise plans around your cravings. So if we go back to our example of arguing with our partner, the pattern there is when we argue with our partner, we have a craving for chocolate. So the solution is to stop buying chocolate. Don't let it be in the house. Don't let that temptation be there. Only use chocolate as a treat. And when you do buy chocolate, buy single serve. So you buy a bar instead of a block. That way the temptation isn't there when we have an argument. Our next strategy is to take 5 minutes. Before you cave on those cravings, stop yourself for 5 minutes and reflect on what's actually happening. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? Is this craving a want or is this a need? Will this craving actually make me feel better? Or what could I have instead? Am I actually hungry right now? Take it 1 minute at a time. You don't have to tell yourself that you're not going to have the craving, that you're not going to eat it. You're just waiting. You're just waiting 5 minutes to see how you feel. And if you do end up caving on the craving, then that's okay. Then we refer back to strategy 1. We journal and log it, and now we have an understanding of why we had that craving, and it's going to help us overcome this next time the craving comes. This strategy helps us take emotion out of eating and instead turns it to logic. We have an actual tangible reason as to why we've eaten. We've asked ourselves. You could even say that you've justified it to yourself. And every time you fail, it's okay. We learn from it and we move on. Strategy 3 is to simply distract yourself. Distract yourself with something that you genuinely enjoy. That could be a TV show or a movie, a video game. It could be going outside and going for a walk. It could be having a bath. It could be reading a book. It could be cleaning something, anything that you actually enjoy. Making sure that you have me time is so important when it comes to maintaining stress. Now, this is not watching a show that your kids want to watch or that your partner wants to watch. This is dedicated time to yourself to do whatever you want to do. Even if it's just 30 minutes, it's going to do wonders for your mental health. So make sure that you are taking care of your mental health and distracting yourself with something that you actually want to do. Strategy 4, coming back to practicing mindful eating. This is something that you can practice actually every day, not just when we emotionally eat. And we do this by simply slowing down when we eat, actually sitting and enjoying our food, away from distractions like TV or our phone, and focusing on the taste, the smell, the textures, Are we starting to get full? And what can be changed next time we eat this meal so that we can make it better? By practicing mindful eating, we're going to learn so much about our body. We're going to learn what signals actually mean what, and we'll be able to recognize when we're feeling emotionally hungry and when we're actually physically hungry. Last strategy is to simply continue building your healthy habits. Remember, everything that we are doing here is a process. Rome wasn't built in a day. We are not going to overcome this just by watching this video. We're going to implement all of these strategies, and gradually we're going to get better and better and better until emotional eating is completely eliminated from our life. Continue building your healthy habits builds discipline, and it's going to help you eliminate emotional eating from your life. Make sure you are consistently doing daily exercise. You are consistently getting 8 hours of sleep. You are tracking and logging your food every day. That goes back to strategy 1. You are consistently staying hydrated with 2 to 3 liters of water every day, and you're making time to sit and relax and have you time. Again, super, super important to take care of your mental health. Now, keep in mind, this is going to happen again. This might happen another 10, 20, 30 times. But every time it happens, we get stronger. We get better at managing the emotional eating. Conquering emotional eating is a process. Every time we fail, we're going to learn from it and we're going to move past it. Give yourself grace. Just being here and watching this video shows how determined you are and how important these goals are to you. And remember, failure is part of the journey. The only way to see actual results is to stay consistent. Like I said before, Rome wasn't built in a day. We are not going to conquer emotional eating in a day. Don't let failure make you want to give up. There is no giving up. The sooner that you accept that this is a journey, that this is a process, that you are going to fail, the easier this is going to be. Remember, we go back to here. Each time we fail, we're going to learn from it. And it's going to help us move past it. It's going to help us remove the emotion from our eating. And that's it. That's all you need to conquer emotional eating. I want to thank you so much for giving me your time, listening to what I have to say. If there is any questions, please feel free to reach out. I've got my Instagram at the bottom here at CT Fitness. I've also got my email at the bottom here as well. So please reach out whenever you need to. And remember, you can come back to this video whenever you need to, whenever you feel the need to rewatch this, whenever you need that motivation, or whenever you just need a refresher. This video will be here for you, as well as the PDF. You got this.